Okay, so starting over for the recording, I'm Bill Goldberg. I run the Learning Platforms team in academic technology, which is part of UM information technology. Rick Ramos will be up presenting, and Brett Stevens will be up presenting as two of the people working with me, and then Michael Bonanno is a new member of our team that will be sitting in on this and taking over technical things for programming and that kind of stuff in the future. Blackboard Collaborate is primarily a webinar type system. It can also be used for web conferencing, but it's really designed for this broadcast type event like we've got here, where we are broadcasting this. There are people online. Welcome to those of you online. If you want to type in anything into the chat windows, feel free to. The ability to do this with people outside of Blackboard, outside of UN, is a big thing. That's really a change, and is a service that in general the academic group doesn't provide, but we are because it's our area. And something that the university hasn't provided in the past. Individual groups had licenses for this. Nursing had some. I think continuing ed had some. Different groups had licenses for so many rooms, so that they could use them for this type of event. But now it's part of the university side license. We're going to split this up into two groups, two parts. The first part is Rick talking about the interface and what it's like to use this system to give you an idea of what it can and can't do. And then the second part will be Brett, who will be talking about the back end. And then at the very end, I'll come back. We've got questions and answers, and I'll show you the support site that we're creating, and we can talk about how to do it in Blackboard or anything else that you want. Those of you online, please feel free to type in your questions. We may save them for the end, but if they're in the chat window, we'll remember them. And those of you here, please write it down or raise your hand or whatever.
And the people that are doing it from their office could be our potential students.
Yes, absolutely. People viewing it, we sent out the link, and people from home, from their office or whatever, opened up their browser and got this. Now this is slightly different because we're a moderator, and they're members down here. So Gearsome is online, so he's running the audio check right now. Gina Moranto is online. And people are coming in as we speak, so we've got up to 15 people online. Again, that's 10 people, real people, 5 somewhere else. Okay? And can I get I know we haven't talked about it yet, but if you're looking at me, there's this pull down that I'm near in the participants list that lets you have a green check or a red check. And I just want to make sure that those of you who are remote can hear me. Would you please give me a green check if you can hear and see what's going on? Excellent. Excellent. Thank you very much. One of the beauties of a webinar is that people can get interrupted. So there will be times that they're gone, that the phone rings, that somebody walks into their office and they have to interact with them. One of the advantages is we started a recording of this. So if somebody needs to leave, either here or from the online thing, we won't feel insulted. You can always come back if you want to and listen to the recording. We'll send out that link. So, Rick Ramos.
Thank you, Bill. All right. Well, thank you for everybody to come here today and look at the presentation of Blackboard Collaborate. The first thing that we're going to do, we're going to talk about the interface, and I'm going to be driving my screen here. So this is the Collaborate interface. You'll see 4 parts of the screen. So let me go ahead and show you the first one. Here is the audio video panel. Then you will have the participant panel, the chat panel, and the content area panel. We'll go into more details as we move forward. So those are the 4 different areas that you will see in the screen. Let's get started with the audio video panel. It's right here on the top left corner of the screen. You'll see a dark window. That's because you can actually see the video like you're looking at it from, if you're remotely, you can see it. You'll see the video. So the audio video panel is composed of the screen for the video, and you have the talk button over here. So if you want to start talking and have people listening to you on the video conference, you press the talk button and everybody will be able to hear you. Oh, okay, I didn't highlight the video, but if you want people to start watching you on the screen right here, you just press the video button and then your picture will be available and people will start watching you. If you're not sure what you look like before entering the room, there is a preview button right here. So if you click that button, it will give you a preview of what everybody will see. Once you feel comfortable, you brush your hair, get ready, click the video button, and that it will become available to everybody.
This camera is filming you.
Yes.
So would it usually be your camera that your computer you're using?
Right. The camera that is filming me right now is on that computer over there that is also set up as a moderator. I'm using this computer. Correct. Right. If you are in front of your computer, that would be your webcam. Or if you have a laptop, it could be your integrated webcam or whatever other webcam you choose.
This is a special case because we've got live and remote users. In general, when we have our departmental meetings, which we hold using this product, even though we are in the same room. But it means that somebody's gone. It's no different, that we can be wherever we need to be, and it gives us practice using it. Right. But I'm sitting in front of my monitor, the camera right there, and I'm interacting with it. But in this case, we don't want to interact with that monitor. We want to interact with you, so we use the camera over here so that it can show us what's going on.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't be having this discussion.
All right, let's keep the questions for the end.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. Okay. All right. The next lines on the audio video panel are the microphone and the speaker volume. So here you just move right or left to set up the microphone volume, and on this side you move right or left to regulate the microphone. The speaker this time, right? This one is the microphone, and this one is the speaker. Okay, so that's how you will regulate the volume. Here on the top right corner, of the window, this is the audio setup wizard. This will allow you to set up your audio before you start the session to make sure that everybody will be able to hear you if you're going to be able to talk. If you want to talk to everybody, make sure that you run the audio setup wizard. Then here you also have a menu, and this will give you more options. Like for example, here you see the microphone settings, the speaker settings, or the camera settings. Camera, if you have, like I said earlier, if you have a laptop with an integrated webcam, but you want to use another webcam, this is where you would set up the other webcam. And here on the top left corner of the panel, you have a collapse button. If you're not planning on using video during the session, you can just collapse it, and you just have the talk and video buttons available, like this in this picture right here. Moving on to the participant panel, right under the audio video panel, you have the participant panel. And this will give you the list of everybody attending the session, all moderators and all participants. There are a lot more functions that you will see, but we'll talk about them when we talk about leading the session. Here, right above the participants, the list of participants, you have several little icons that you can see. And like Bill said earlier, you have the yes or no button. This is raise your hand if you want to raise your hand. If you're going away for whatever reason, this is the button that you need to press. And if you feel like putting smileys on the chat, you can you can set them up here. Actually, it's not the chat; it's in the participant window. Okay. So here's an example. Raise the hand. That's if you have a question and you want the person leading the session to notice that, click this button and there's a number that will appear next to your name. They'll know that you're the first one that raised the hand. And then here, the chat panel. So this is basically where you would be typing your questions, and you can either chat with the whole room, or you can just chat individually with the moderator. So this is just like a regular chat room, asking your questions and typing it in. Okay, moving to the next one, the content area. This content area is composed of several screens. For example, here on the left, you have the whiteboard. You can draw, use the screen. It's basically a screen to draw. So you'll be using a pen or using this bar here on the left. That's where you would use the whiteboard. The next one is the application sharing. This would allow you to share whatever you have open on your screen. So if you have your browser open, you can choose that to be shared. If you have a PowerPoint presentation, you can use it. Or whatever you want to use, or whatever you have open at that moment on your computer, you can use it. And then there's the web tour. If you want to take some of the audience to a web page, click that button and type the URL, and then everybody will see the page. Okay. Okay, that's the basic interface of Blackboard Collaborate. I mean, there's a lot more to it, but we just went quickly on the small parts of it to get you started, but to get you excited about it. Mm-hmm. Yes?
You mentioned about two cameras. If we have class participation and the students talk and they want to be seen, I have two cameras. One camera pointing at the instructor and the other camera pointing at the class.
You can only use one camera at a time.
But you can switch between them. Is it fast enough that if a student's asked and wants to be seen, I can turn the camera facing the students on and vice versa?
No, you're only using one camera for a session.
You cannot switch between them during the session?
No. I think actually you have to log out of the session. So if you want to switch to another camera, no? You can? Okay. All right, so but you have to do the settings for the video if you want to switch to the other camera.
I have to do what?
The video settings.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so let's move on to the next. Let's move on to the next one. The moderator role in Blackboard Collaborate, and what can they do? All right. So when you first log into your session, you'll notice who is the moderator, because in the participant list you'll see the name moderator, and in the main room you'll see the name moderator. That's who they are. So what can they do? On the right side of the main room, you'll have a series of icons, and the moderator can grant access to the participants based on what they were planning to do in the session. So the first icon here is audio permissions, right here. When they click, it disables it, If they click it again, enables it. That means that everybody will have audio permissions. They can talk. The next one is the video permissions. You can allow people to use their webcam or not during the session. Then the chat permission, of course, it allows you to open the chat or restrict the access.
The chat is also audio or only text?
Text. Sharing permissions, this allows you to grant sharing permission to somebody. So if I want to grant access to one of the students or one of the person attending the session, if I want them to be able to share something, I can grant them the sharing permissions. And then the web tool permission, which will allow them to show a web page to everybody attending the session. Moving on to the participants window, there is a drop down over here that will also allow you to set up the permissions right here. This drop down will give you the permissions, and in addition to that, you have other permissions available, especially this one here that makes the response visible. This allows you, for example, to have the webcam follow the person talking.
The webcam, you mean it can move?
Well, it's voice activated, so when you start talking, the webcam will show you. If somebody else starts talking, the other person will be the one visible on the window. If you want to lower all hands, if you have multiple people raising their hand asking questions, you can lower everybody's hand. You can also set up permissions and use the different functions. If you right-click on a person, if you right-click on the person, you also would have the permissions and what you can grant them. And you also have some additional functions. One of them in specific is here at the bottom. It's to remove the participant from the session. This is very important. If you're recording it, make sure that you don't have anybody left in the session. Otherwise, the recording would not be available to you until they log out of the session.
Can you log them out?
Yes, by clicking here. You right-click on the name and select the last option, remove participant. Okay, here at the control panel, we have those three functions. Like I said earlier, the whiteboard that allow you to draw on the screen, the application sharing that allows you to share whatever you have open on your window, and the web tour that allows you to share a web page with everybody. And then on the right, you have the recording button. This button, when you first start the session, you will get a message on the screen asking you if you want to start the recording. If you're not sure, just select no, and this button will allow you to start the recording whenever you want. And then the next button here is to load the content. If you have a series of slides that you want to upload, you can upload it directly with that button, and they'll become available. That's what we do here. Actually, we upload all the content to the session. Here on the top left of the page, you have the menu, and one of them is the tools menu. This one will give you a lot of functions that you can use during your session. Like, for example, the application sharing. This would allow you to select what you want to share, and one of the functions in there is to allow you to share the whole screen. So you can share your whole screen with everybody also. The chat, this will give you control over all those different options. Moderator, polling, recorder, video, whiteboard. So you have all those functions, those additional functions that you can use. And I think this will conclude this presentation for me. I'm going to pass it on to Brett. Can we hold on do we have time for questions, or can we wait until the end?
One question.
Okay.
Can you stream live from this? And what if I run my own live streamer to use Stream.tv or Google Hangouts on air simultaneously with this, will it interfere?
I don't know, try it.
It depends. I would think it will depend on your bandwidth, but yeah.
I think one second.
Okay.
Yeah, you're doing some things that are far beyond the major use of this, where people are traveling and want to be able to get back to their class now. So you're going to have to experiment with it to see what the computer does. Normally, when you dedicated a line as video into this program, then you can't put it to another program, but I don't know. Okay, so that's the interface. That's what the students will see and what you'll use if you're communicating with somebody. And again, normally I'm just sitting in front of the computer, I've got a camera up there, I've got two, they make these nice little LED lights now that have no heat but produce light, so I've got some light on my face. I try to use my camera there, and with the light behind me in the wall, I'm just a shadow. If I'm out my voice, it would sound like I was a criminal or something. Whoops, I'm sorry, I'm supposed to be over here so you people can hear me. But what we're going to talk about next is the capability outside of Blackboard of using this. Inside of Blackboard, I'll show you afterwards, it'll just take a second, and literally you can just click and use it. Outside of Blackboard is a little different in that if Student Affairs wants to use it, they don't have a Blackboard site, so they can't go in and do that, and they want to have a separate thing. And we've got two options for that. The number one option, someone in your area has control of this and can set up the rooms. Again, they're called sessions some of the time, but the rooms so that people can meet in them and give you the links and give the moderator rights and all that stuff. And the other option is you just want one for yourself and for something you're going to do for the team, mini teams or something like that, to do some question and answer sessions. We'll set it up for you, and the email will be at the end as to how to do that. So I think Gearsome already has one, or somebody in nursing already has one. I'm not sure if we've got anybody in ID, whatever it is. But HR has one. There are a bunch of schools and groups that already have somebody in charge of what you're going to see. Now, even if you're not going to see this, these capabilities are also in Blackboard. You can create a session. So the screen will look different, much better. But the capabilities are there. So it'll give you an idea of what's on the back end, repeating sessions, and all kinds of neat features. Brett Stevens.
Hello everyone, I'm Brett Stevens. I'm the systems analyst for the Learning Platforms team. I'm going to show you how to create a session using the
part of Blackboard, the learning, blah blah.
This is using it outside of Blackboard Learning.
If you're an employee of Blackboard or you want?
The Learning Platform team here at UM.
Oh
yeah, there is no IEC.
Okay, I didn't know that.
The new name.
Learning Platform sounds good.
I'm going to show you how to create a session using the session administration server. So first off, once we've created an account for you to use, you'll log in at sas.illuminate.com. Illuminate was what the product was previously called before Blackboard bought it. And SAS stands for Session Administration System. So log in there, and you'll be presented with this main screen. There's a lot of features here that we're not going to go into this quick overview, but what I'm going to focus on first off is scheduling a session. Let me go back here. Schedule a meeting is the main option. You'll click here, and once you click that, it'll bring you to this screen. I want to point out something here that you, once you have access, and we've gone over this through additional training, this will be like second nature, but don't click this right away. You have to do a number of things before you create the actual session. First, we have to give it a session name. It can be descriptive, like here it says Blackboard Office Hours. This is the session we use for our weekly office hours that we put on every Wednesday. And then you can put a session start and end date and time. This can be a short amount of time, an hour or two even, but we like to have ones sometimes that have a continuous time, so they can go on for years. We can just use the same session over and over again. So I would set the session start and end time, and then go with the default fields. Usually you won't have to set this, because once you have your default set, you would save them as default, and they'd be there for you at all times. But I wanted to point out a couple of options here. You've got the notify invitees, which sends an email to them once you created the session, tells them they've been invited to the session, and gives them a link to join. Must be supervised. That basically means you can see all the private messages and stuff. We don't have that enabled for our sessions. Permissions on, as Rick talked about earlier, permissions on will give them access to the audio, video, chat, and whiteboard. Of course, once you open the session up, you may not want everyone to have access to the whiteboard, so you'd click the whiteboard off. But if you have this unchecked, they have no permissions at all, so when they join, they can't chat, they can't use audio, they can't use video. Enable recording just lets you record the session. If you don't have this turned on, you won't have that option. Email recording link lets everyone that was invited know that the recording is available and gives them a link to go view it. And there's some other options here that we don't need to go over right now. This is just having additional recording viewer details. And then the allow in-session invites. This.
Would it work with Symposium screen that you can draw on it? Will it conflict or work with it?
I don't believe it will conflict, but we haven't tested that.
Come to the classroom to test, have us test it?
We certainly could. Allow in-session invite. Basically, I can send someone an email from within this interface from the tools menu here. If you're here locally in the room, there's an in-session invite entry here under the tools menu, invite new participant. That sends them a guest link. And then there's max talkers, max cameras, and restrict private chat to disable the private chat ability. Moving on to the invitees submenu, you can add new contacts to invite them to the session. Put in their email address, their display name, and nothing else is required there.
We're in Blackboard in the start class. They should be invited already. We don't have to input that, do we?
In Blackboard, the students automatically will have access once you show the link to them.
You also don't have to invite in.
Correct.
You can get a public link that you can get to send to people.
Yeah, what Bill was just saying is that there's a guest link that I'm going to show you here in a minute that you can send out. And the other thing to look at before you create an invitee is the invitee is chair. They mix up the word chair and moderator regularly, which is one of our complaints. But if this is checked and you click create the invitee to add them to the session, it will put them into invitees with chair role, which means moderator. So if you don't want them to have moderator privileges, you would uncheck this, which by default is checked. And then once you click create invitee, they would be added to invitees with non-chair role. And if you do have existing invitees that you've invited to another session before, they would be here. You just select their name and then click one of these buttons here to add them as a chair or non-chair. And once you're done with all that, you've got your invitees added, you've got your default fields checked if you need to change anything there, and you've got the right session start and end time, you go ahead and click create the session. And when that's done, invitee emails are sent out. It'll tell them the name, the type of session, which we don't need to worry about right now, the start and end time, and then information about the teleconference, which we don't need right now because we're all using voice over IP. And then here we have the invitee link. This is an explicit link just for the named invitee. If they click on this, they're the only ones that can use it, so no one else would need to have this link here. However, if they want to tell someone else that they can join the session, here's the guest link. And that link is what everyone that has logged in remotely is using that prompts them for their name. Yes?
The guest link, is that shareable on social media?
Yes, the guest link can be shared through social media. It's just a regular web link. I would suggest using a URL shortener like TinyURL or something like that, just so you don't have this long string that you have to paste out there. I don't know how many characters that is, but it certainly would cause you trouble on Twitter. And then you have another link here to get a calendar entry for the session. It just gives you a downloadable file that you can use in whatever mail program you're using, and it adds it to your calendar. And then, of course, it has a link to the support site for Blackboard Collaborate. And at this point, we'll take additional questions and comments. Bill's going to come up. Please approach the podium.
Yeah, I want to show you the Blackboard stuff for a second. And for that, we're going to switch to, there are 3 things up at the top. The first one is the whiteboard, which is what we've been using. The next one over is screen sharing, and the third one is a web tour. So the web tour is used where I can type in URLs. You go to those pages on your computers, and then you're in control of that page. Okay, so you can, I can take you all to a place, and then I can say, okay, look around and see what you find, and type in the chat window what's interesting. Take a couple minutes, and then we'll come back together, and you can talk about what you've seen. Right now, I'm going to go to sharing. And I'm going to share. I don't have anything to share. So let's cancel. Yes.
You can share out the desktop, but it does show everything that's on your screen, as opposed to just the application.
Yeah. You could do that as well. One of the problems with that is people with different size screens have problems seeing what you're doing. So I always take a, like in this case, I wanted to show you a browser and show you some of the Blackboard stuff. So I take a browser, make it smaller than my full screen, and then share that. And that will now, let's see, we're sharing. Can I do this? Or switch modes. I think I have to do that. Then I come back to it, and now it has Firefox. I apologize. Oh no, everybody can see this because I'm still sharing a thing. Oh, that's right. When I'm sharing, when I'm selecting it, only I. Okay. So now this screen is in the content area, so everybody else is seeing. Everybody remotely is seeing this window. Now sharing application Firefox. So I say, okay, now I want to go to courses and just real briefly. Good. This is unrehearsed. You should never do something unrehearsed in front of a class or especially faculty. So I'm going to log in. Thank you for that.
It's better you do something, because we always do something.
I would call you.
Don't change the help desk. It's got to be no. With a voice.
Let's see, I don't know if we've got audio out here, do we? I couldn't hear the bing when the timer went off.
It's turned up.
Oh, I see. Okay.
What are you trying to do, Bill?
Well, I just saw that Gerald Betancourt raised his or her, I don't know, hand.
I'm Jairo. So, yes,
Jairo,
I have an issue in terms of the link that is produced when you make a class or a session. And one of the things is that I make that session public. So I get the link and send it to all the potential students, which are mostly researchers. However, when you have students, there is no way to track record training. So I like to be able to use Blackboard to send a link so the students can get credit for that particular required training session.
Okay. Yeah, there is. Let me get into a course. First of all, great question, and we'll have to look into it further, and work with you to figure out. Oh, I'm sorry, you couldn't hear the question. Okay, I'm sorry. He's using the link and giving it out to people, and they're coming in, but then he doesn't know which students attended, because you just type in your name into the chat window when you come in that way. Rather than coming in to read out how many people did the link. Well, you need to know who actually did it, and I think it will do that. I'm in a course right now. I'm going to go to course tools, correct me if I'm wrong, and Blackboard Collaborate. There are a couple things that are here. First of all, there's a room for the course. I have my own room that I can use any way that I want to, inside or outside the course, or combine all my courses or whatever. And then off to the right, oh, that's probably all. No, there's another thing to create a session, which kind of replicates what we were talking about through this SAS interface, we call it, in Blackboard. I'm going to go into there are a couple things on the course room that I wanted to point out, and Brett can correct me. Allow guests. If I want to allow guests into this room, I click on that, and then I get a public link that I can put out there. Edit room lets me set up things like the teleconference. Is it room attributes where I decide if it's graded? Someplace here. The course room can't be graded because it's a unique for the course. Ah, very good. Very good. The course room can't be graded, so I would need to go over to, let's go back, and create a session, which is, and session and room are the same. Right? This is very bad terminology, because I make a room and then I use it for lots of sessions, just like a classroom. Different classes move in and out of it, and different people use it at different times, and I may use it every Monday at this time. But if you're making a session that is one-off, it's just going to start and stop, that you can grade. But you can't grade this general one as to who attended that. So I can go into here.
So you have to create a session. So to answer his question, you have to create a session.
Unique session.
Well, there are a couple things that go into that, yes. So I can create a session. Early session entry, remember it said you can enter this 30 minutes ahead of time? Well, if I leave it as the default, it'll say 15. That's as early as a student can get in. Your choice. Is it a repeating session? This is one of the neat things, I think. If you're going to have office hours using this, you can make a repeating session if you're going to require people to be there. There's no reason to. You can use your regular session if you just want drop-ins and you don't care who is there. It's not required and there's no grade for it. But you could set up the repeat to say, okay, this is Tuesday and Thursday. I can set up the dates. I can set up someplace I get to set up the time. Oh, yeah, up at the top I set up the start time and the end time. So if I wanted one of these set up for my class every day, then I simply walked into my classroom and logged into it, then it could start recording and we'd be all set. And down here, it's all users registered in the course can attend, or all users registered in courses that you teach. So that goes into Blackboard and gets all of your courses. So again, an office hour is often anybody that you teach can come in remotely. Teleconference options. I said in the chat room we don't recommend teleconferences, but in a case if it's one-on-one or something like that, that's fine. The problems with teleconferences are background noise, and people at the universities put you on hold and everyone in the group starts hearing the music. Room attributes. Recording mode, manual or automatic. Again, if I was just going to do my class, I'd just do it automatic. Say it starts at the beginning of class, ends at the end of class. Max simultaneous talkers and max cameras. The more talkers and cameras you have, the poorer the quality, because everything has to go back to the Blackboard server and then get redistributed to all the people doing it. If I'm just recording my class, which you can use this for, I'm going to be the only one logged in, right? One camera, one talker, right? Nobody's using it remotely. If that's all that I want to do, and then they can watch the recording. If I want people to be able to come in, I could use that. All permissions. This is a question as to when people come in, should they have the right to talk and all that kind of stuff. Someplace, grade center integration, there it is, add a grade column. And that's the one. So you want a grade column for that specific session, that day or whatever, and how many points you want to go into it. So if all you want to know is participation, make it 1 point.
and you could put it there. Then the question, okay, so I create this session, and I want to go back and turn off the repeats. Note that it always takes the current time to the next, 15 minutes? Yeah, so this is going to start at 2:45 and 4:45. You can't make a session that starts right now, because by the time you create it, it started in the past, and it doesn't like that. So I will...
I have to create it how much in advance?
Much as you want. I mean,
No, I mean, how about the smallest time?
oh, it's every...
Was that 3 minutes?
well, actually, I could type the time, so I think you can put anything you wanted to. 1 minute should be fine. Okay.
Say 2:44.
Now I have down here a scheduled session that I can work with. Okay, and the students will see when they come in if I send them to this page. But more importantly, there I click on the little downward chevron, the action menu in Blackboard, and I've got a couple things. Allow guests. If I want people that are not part of my class to be able to get to this, I have to, because it's now a graded column in Blackboard, right? But I want other people to get there. I have to allow guests. I have to take that, I turn it on, then I take that URL and I pass it out to the people that I want to come into it, or I put it on the social media or wherever I want it. And again, that's where you go to tinyurl.com or something like that.
So if, let's say I do that for 5 weeks in a row, you know, that repeated once, I have to go each time and make that public?
I believe so. I believe each one is, what happens, yes, I believe.
They go in every time, how far is it going?
Yeah, because what I'm looking at right now are items in the next week, sessions in the next week. If I had one of these every week and I changed the end date, I would see each one. Each one has been made as a separate session.
Okay, and the URL has been made.
Yes, and it will be different. That will be a different session.
So if, for instance, somebody was doing something in continuing studies, they could send out in advance.
But the only reason for this is that, who was it? Julio? Jairo, sorry. Jairo said that he wanted a record of who had attended, and he wanted the right for the public to do it. And that's going to take extra work, right? If it just, you know, I'm not taking a role in class or I'm taking a role through some other technique participation, then you can just use your one-time thing, pass out that link, and everybody's great. Now, the problem...
You cannot set it and forget it. The first day of class, I set it, and I want it to run the whole semester like that. You cannot do it.
You can do that as long as you don't have people coming in manually, people coming in from your class, and you want a record of who was there in the grade center, and you want to give public access. Normally it's one or the other. Either you're doing something for your class, you're going on a conference, you want to teach your class while you're gone, you want to have a meeting, and the participants are all known, and you're going to give this stuff out. So either it's this fixed group or it's this public group. And if it's a public group, normally you don't have a grade center thing for your students.
But if it's a public, let's say I do public and I do it once a week for the public.
Yeah, but you can just use your room once a week and tell them, you have one link, you turn on the recording and turn it off, just like we did today, and then that URL is constant.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yep.
So I could send out to the public that one URL.
Yes.
And it would always be there, so they know Thursday at noon.
The URL we're using right now is tinyurl.com/umiamibb. That is this room that we use every Wednesday at 3:30 to do our virtual office hours.
So we can join you and we can participate.
Every Wednesday at 3:30, is that right?
tinyurl.
tinyurl.com/umiamibb for Blackboard.
And it's also here in the instructor updates in Blackboard. Blackboard virtual office hours.
Oh, okay.
And there's a link right here.
And you made that public?
Yes, that's there.
No, that's just a regular session. It's not through Blackboard. That's done through the back end. So it is a public session.
Yes. So I would do something similar to that. Virtual hours. And just have one.
Yes, absolutely. Now, the other thing that I should say is, if you're going to keep track of who's attended, they can't use that public link.
Right, but if I don't hear.
So if you do want to know who's attended, one of the things that you have, or if you want to give the students a link that they can click inside your course, so that they're the ones who get in, then you go, what have I got? Have I still got this? Yes. Then you go to the session, whichever one it is, and I'll just go up to here, and you say add a link. What?
What's the maximum load that the link can handle? A million hits?
Over 400, we do need to make some adjustments, but less than that, we're fine.
Yeah, more than that, we just have to tell Blackboard so that they can give us a clear thing, and they haven't run into limits, but we'll see. Okay, so now I get to give the link a name, right? So if this is my office hour, or this is my exam review link, then I can say exam review sessions, and the student put this into any content area in Blackboard, and the students can click on it and go in. Okay, and the same thing, and then if this is a graded event session that I made, then it will log them as having logged into that session. Does that make sense? I mean, I know it's confusing because there are side effects, but you need to make these sessions, and you need to think about how the students are going to get to the sessions. At one point in nursing, they've been using this more than others because they have experience with it. And was that a hand being raised? Or did we run out of time? Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay.
How do we determine our local staff enable contact for session creation outside of DB?
Good question, Mrs. George. Let's go to Blackboard info.
It's how do we determine our local SAS-enabled contact for session creation outside of BB?
What is that?
How do you get sessions created? And I'll cover that really quick.
When there's a department that has the right to make sessions outside of Blackboard, Lindsay works, Ms. George works in IT, and IT has a person, Gables One Tower, and we're IT too, but Gables One Tower has a person, but it doesn't have a BB account. That's right, you don't have to have a BB account, no need. They're doing it outside of Blackboard. And many of the people who are here, that's really the big event today is that we're announcing for people outside of Blackboard. How do you find out who those people are? And we will add that to our list on Weebly, but this is Blackboard info.weebly.com, and then if you go up to the top of the page, you'll see a collaborate link, and that's where we're going to put the information. And we started putting it, but we're going to have this link to this video, links to other stuff, forms, and we'll make the list of organizations that have access to who the contact people are, so that if you're in that organization, you contact them. If you're not, you contact us. We are happy to make one-offs. You're going to do a webinar, and you need a room to do it in. And this isn't something that you're going to do lots of, and that is going to happen over and over and over again. Yeah, so you want a room. I've got a room, tinyurl.com/Bill Vilberg. Right, just my room. I can do it whenever I want to, and somebody wants that, send it in to, well, the last page has it, collaborate help at miami.edu or Blackboard help at miami.edu, either one, and we'll take care of it. We did a dialogue with you. What do you want? If you've got a department and they're going to use this a whole bunch for different things, then we'll say, well, who in your department could do this and have these rights, so that you don't have to keep coming to us. I know local support, Frank, as an example of local support, is always preferable than having to go to a central support group, right? And we understand that, especially in academics. And if you've got somebody local you can turn to, we're willing to say, yeah, go to it. We'll train you, we'll help you in any way that we can, but you're the person that they talk with. So go to person. Yeah. I'm sorry, who? Go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. The reason why I asked the question about the students is because normally when I create approximately 36 to 38 classes per year. So it's the same class every month. All right. So normally when you create that session, it gives you the famous link that you talk about. And what I do is I send that link to all the research individuals. But the students don't have access, for example, to ULearn, because ULearn doesn't handle students, cannot handle students.
That's true.
But I need to give credit to the students for this class, and that's why also I wanted to ask about the linking of this thing to Blackboard so the students can get credit for that.
Well, for that, yeah, he wants to use this for training. Correct me, I'll explain it and you correct me if I'm wrong, Howard. He wants to do training with it. Normally, the training would go through the ULearn system, but since there are students involved, students can't use ULearn.
Correct.
So, what? Okay. Oh, that was you. Okay. Yes. So we've got this issue when you want to train students. Well, you probably run into this. Wellness. That's right. You want to train students and staff, and you use ULearn for the staff, and then what do you do with the students? And the question is, can Blackboard be used for that? Yes, it can. You can get, anybody can get an organization on Blackboard for anything. The trick is you're going to have to get people into that organization. We're already using it for intramural sports. Intramural sports requires that you have one person in your team attend the captain's meeting. Okay, so thank you. So they have that on Blackboard.
And we have all our students, like 390.
Yeah.
And we have them do training. And what we do is, like your daughter's got to take an active shooter training.
Yep.
There's a PowerPoint I post on Blackboard, and then I make an exam. It's just to do the exam, whereas I would rather do a web seminar. But I still test them because I'm required. And then I have to let the office team know who passes their exam.
Okay, for those of you in the remote thing, Rhonda DuBoard was describing how she does training at the Wellness Center with all of her students. And they simply have an organization in Blackboard. They enroll the students into that. The students go through the training and then take the exam. Now, it isn't as fancy as ULearn in that you can't get this huge report and certificates and all that stuff, but you can go to the gradebook and you can see who did it, and then make sure that they've all completed. So, or export it to a spreadsheet. So,
how long has Blackboard been going on?
Since 1998, actually 99, spring of 99.
We were the first group.
Yep.
You gave us so much.
Yep.
It works great.
Yep, Rhonda took me over to the rat, the original rat. So that's the, it can do an amazing lot, and Blackboard can do an amazing lot. The thing that Blackboard can't do is easily, and in general at all, let non-UM people into it. Right? Michael?
You essentially Blackboard and record it. Can you then make the recording available?
Absolutely. If you use Collaborate to record a session in Blackboard, through Blackboard, can you then give that link to other people? And the answer is yes. The other aside here is you can export that content. It's in rich media, so it's got the video, you know, and the screen and the chat window. It's got all this stuff and it's all tied together. but then you can export it as an MP4, either the whole screen or just the content screen, and then do whatever you want to with that MP4.
Absolutely. Can I run a quick Google Hangout on there on top of this to see if it will?
After we stop recording at 3 o'clock. Anything else? You got the last, go back to turn off screen sharing for me. And, oh, one other thing, if you're going to use this, we will join you on the first session if you'd like. We will both run a trial session, and we will sit in on the first session because we know how hard it can be. Scrolling on screen sharing is just awful, and there are times that people raise their hand and you don't notice that, so we're happy to do that. Blackboard help at miami.edu or collaborate help.
Can we start tomorrow already?
At miami.edu.
Can we start tomorrow already to try in a class?
You can use it.
You know, this session is on April 1st, so I don't think we're going to really do it. April Fool! Yes, you can make arrangements depending on when we're free and stuff like that. Okay, thank you. Anybody else that has comments, get in touch with us directly at collaboratehelp@miami.edu. This is Bill, Brett, and Rick, and Michael. Thank you for participating.